Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to be making this cute bag. So it's one of the patterns in the Alexia bundle patterns, and this one has a lock. It opens like that. This one is smaller than the actual pattern. This is what the actual size of the pattern looks like, and it opens like this, right? And there's a connector at the side to attach your chain. You can attach your chain here and the other side of the chain to the other side to carry it as a crossbody bag. So let's get right into it. First, to work on my main panels, I'm going to transfer the dotted marks, the dotted line on pattern piece B to my main interfacing panel. So I'm just trying to mark that, trying to mark the side of it on my interfacing, and then I will now use a ruler to draw the lines together to get a straight line. So those are the lines as seen on the pattern itself. Then I'm going to label these sections. This part is the front, the next one is the base, then the topmost one is the flap, followed by the top, then the back of the panel. So I'm going to fold it on that line. I'm going to fold it on that line and have it like this, and then it forms the shape of the bag. Now lay your main panel right side up, the wrong side up now, and draw a 3/4 line from all the edges. So it should look like this at this point. Now I'm going to use glue to glue the main panel, the wrong side of the main panel now, to my main interfacing. So I'm using glue, but you can decide to fuse your own, or even to use double-sided tape. But I prefer using glue because it makes everything stick together very well. And the name of the glue I'm using is contact adhesive. So now I'm going to fold the edge to the edge of the interfacing. So I'm folding the edge of the main panel to the edge of the interfacing. Note that I'm not folding it on the interfacing at all, because I do not want the interfacing to be in the seam allowance. So carefully fold the corners to form like a little bit that pokes up. Then this part we can then trim it off. Okay, so those are the corners. You see that it's kind of poke up a little. So I'm going to use my scissors to cut it off. If you're using a fraying material for your exterior, do not trim it off. You can just fold it over, just like press it down instead of cutting, because we do not want it to fray to the right side. So now we have it all done, and then right now I'm going to install my purse fit using the mark on pattern piece B as the guide. I'm going to punch those parts, or cut a small, very small slit to allow the prong of my purse fit to enter through it. So now I'm going to install my metal tag. For this one, you can choose to install it where you deem fit on the bag, and then I'll go ahead and install my the male end of my lock, also using the mark indicated on pattern piece B. So now we have it, and then move to the second part. Now move to the second part, the undo panel. So on the round side of the undo panel, I'm going to draw a straight line down the center on the long edge, and then I'm going to use my glue now to hold it to the middle, like hold each long edge to the center. You can also use your double-sided tape. So now we fold it to the center, and then we fold it again in half on that long edge. Then I'll use my clips to hold everything in place. And then I have sewn it with 1/8 inch seam allowance. And I'm going to push the tube, the water tube in, and through the center of the handle. It doesn't have to be the water tubing. You can use anything that can give your handle a rolled handle look, or you can choose to leave it like that as well. So now I'm going to start installing my handle onto the main panel. Then again, I will use the mark indicated on pattern piece B to mark where I want to put my handle. After marking, I am punching it with my puncher now to create a hole that the short edge of the handle will enter through. Then I'm going to push each of the handle, the short edge of the handle, through those holes, and then use my super glue to glue the ends, the short ends, in place as I'm doing right now. So now the handle is stable and steady. Yeah, it should be like this. So we move to the lining panel, and you take the top edge of the lining panel and then clip it to the straight long edge of the flap lining, right sides together. Please note the top edge of the lining panel, it's on the pattern. So then you sew it with a 3/8 inch seam allowance, then fold the seam towards the lining and then top stitch on the lining panel on the right side. So now we put the main panel wrong sides together with the lining panel, and then I'm going to glue them together. And again, I'm using contact adhesive. Contact adhesive allows your panels to stick together in such that if you even want to remove it later, it won't be possible. So of course, I will center the exterior on the lining, and then I'll take this to my sewing machine and then sew the flap area and then the top of the front part of the bag. Now you're going to see what I'm saying. It might be a bit confusing. I'm going to sew the top and then the flap. So right now I'm sewing the top and the flap. So if you notice, I'm not sewing the back, the base and the front yet, but you can also sew that. If what you have used is not contact adhesive, it's not going to hold the bag very well, then just sew everything together as I am doing. But the side should be 1/4 inch seam allowance, while the flap area should be 1/8 inch seam allowance. Ordinarily I wouldn't have sewn this part. I'm sewing it to show you how it should be done if you're not using contact adhesive. So then I'll cut my thread and then I'm going to trim off all the excess. I'm going to trim it off in such a way that the lining will not be showing from the right side. So I'm going to trim it really close to the seam, but not cutting into the seam. Do not cut into the seam. So now we have the lining and the exterior. So we're moving to the side panel. I'm going to use my interfacing to center it on the main panel on the right side, on the wrong side of the main panel, right? And then I'm going to trace out all the edges. And then I'm going to use my glue to hold them wrong sides together. So I'm going to set the interfacing now within the line that I've already traced from the beginning. So now we have the side panel like this together with the interfacing, and then I'm going to mark where the chain holder should be, and then I'll punch that place to be able to install my chain holder. Your chain holder might be different from mine, but it does not really matter. What matters is that you're using a chain holder and you can hold your chain at the end of the day. So now I'm going to hold the bottom corners right sides together, and then I'll clip them in place. And I'll take this to my sewing machine and sew with a 3/8 inch seam allowance. So now I'm going to cut the fold without cutting into the stitches, and then I will fold it down to reduce the bulk. So you can use your double-sided tape to fold it down, but because I've already applied glue everywhere, I can just use the glue to hold it. And I'm going to repeat this for the second side panel and the two side lining. So once we are done with that, I'm going to take the one side panel now and then fold the edges to meet the edge of the interfacing. Again, I'm not folding on the interfacing because I do not want the interfacing to be in the seam allowance. This will keep everything nice and simple when we are sewing the final seam. So after folding it like this, I will repeat it for the second side panel. Then I'm going to hold the side panel and one side lining, right sides together. I will center the side panel on the side lining because right now the side panel is now smaller than the side lining. Then I'm going to sew with 3/8 inch seam allowance on the top. Then I will fold the panel open and then top stitch on that same line again. I'm going to top stitch it now. And the top stitching, I'm not going to let it get to where the side lining is, only on the side panel, because I'm going to be trimming off the side lining. So at this point, if you use I'm using contact adhesive, as you can see, if that is what you use, you will not need to sew the side lining again on the sides and the bottom. But if you do not use, if you're using maybe you are not even using anything to hold it, to glue it together, then you will need to sew the sides and the bottom of the side panel with 1/4 inch seam allowance to hold the side lining to the side panel. But if you have used contact adhesive like I have done, then you can go ahead and just trim it off, and make sure that you're trimming off the lining is not showing from the right side. So you should trim it off in a way that leaves your lining way under your side panel. We should not be seeing it from the right side, so that everything will be nice and clean. So right now we have it. This is it. You can see it's nice and clean. And then we repeat the same thing for the other side. And then we move to the final part where we assemble the bag. So right now I'm going to start holding my side panel from the top of the side panel. Then I'm going to do the bottom center, because doing the bottom center makes sure that everything is even. So then I'm going to also clip the sides in between. So there is a tip I like to use at this point. I like to hold everything together with super glue. Super glue allows things to like really hold very well. I like to do that because using clip is good, it's fine, but I like to do this because it allows my sewing to be very easy at the end. So you can see after using super glue, I don't necessarily need the clips. It can hold for as long as I am clipping the other side to take it to the sewing machine and give it a secured stitching at the end. And also using super glue, make sure that everything is even. In fact, that is the reason why I love to use it. Make sure that the side is not obviously coming out from the main panel or anything like that. It will stay even. Then I will just stitch it like that. Then everything will be neat. So then I'll go ahead and also do the other side. Then I'll take it to the sewing machine and sew them together. I'll also sew the other side. So then I want to use my already installed male part of the lock to install the female part of the lock. Then I have punched the hole, and then I'm going to put my lock now and use screw to screw everything together. So now this is what your bag will look like. This is what I call a cute bag. This bag is giving everything it should be giving. I really love it, and of course I'm sure Alexia will like it too. And if you make it, so if you do the bag, I'm sure your young ones will definitely love it, and anyone you're giving it as a gift to will definitely appreciate this for sure. So yeah, we are done with this bag. I have attached the chain, and thank you so much for watching.